Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, the dope ass dude, and I am so excited to be back with you all on tonight and the show that we have planned for you guys tonight. I know that you are going to leave here super inspired. So, again, welcome to the Dope Ass Dude podcast. And you guys already know the preliminary things. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you don't mind going ahead, subscribing to the YouTube channel while you're there, click on notifications so that you can be notified each and every time a new podcast is uploaded to the site, as well as click on like so that this can be shared with others just like you. And if you don't get a chance to listen on Monday nights, you can always listen on the go on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Again, that's Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And you already know you can watch it live each Monday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. So again, that's Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And then lastly, if you are not following me on TikTok and Instagram, if you don't mind going ahead and follow me on both of those platforms, I can be followed at the Dope Ass Dude Podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. And we'll go ahead and get Gerren's information out of the way as well. So you're definitely going to want to go and follow this guy. After tonight, you're definitely going to want to be connected with him. So you can follow Gerren on Facebook. He's on Facebook as Gerren Sprauve, and that's Sprauve. Again, that's Gerren Sprauve, I'm done got tongue twist. Sprauve. And then on Instagram and TikTok, you can follow him at Gerren Sprauve on both platforms. No space, no underscore, just his name straight out. And so just a little bit about this here. So yesterday, and Gerren, he is a lifesaver because I had actually planned to come on by myself because I didn't like any guests. So I came across Gerren's page on Facebook, and I added this guy because I saw some of his content, and this brother is on fire. I didn't think I was going to have him on tonight, but God worked that out. He was available, but I knew sometime in the future he had to be on the podcast because this guy is doing some remarkable things. He's an author, he's an entrepreneur, he's a coach, he's a motivational speaker, and today I got an opportunity to listen to his book. I haven't completely finished it just yet, but I got a chance to listen to the first half of the book. And when I tell you, it is simply amazing and how he talks about finding your purpose. And I think that is something that many of us, we are struggling and asking ourselves, asking God, what is our purpose and what is our reason here on earth? And so yesterday when I reached out to Gerren, he was able to come on, and like we said in the chat and we talked for a minute there. And this dude was like asking some dope questions, and he was really on fire. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on out here because I want, and this is just something, if you watch the podcast and if this is your first time, I normally don't talk to the guest behind because I want to find out when you guys find out. So it's an authentic conversation and we talk, and tonight is going to be amazing. So let's go ahead and bring Gerren on. Gerren, what's up, man? Hey, Gerren, you are on mute.
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good. Yeah, man.
What's going on with you, my brother?
Listen, I'm blessed to be here, man. I appreciate you. That introduction, yeah, spot on to a lot of things, and even how we connected yesterday, man, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. So, okay, so now you being modest and not really talking, y'all, but this brother have a lot going on. So, Gerren, you got to tell us about you, who you are, where you from, man. Tell us a little bit.
All right, cool. So I was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico, back in 1977. Okay, I'm a 47-year-old baby. I grew up in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, and once I got out of school, I went up to Maryland for college, and then after I got finished with that, came down to Orlando. That was back in 2001, and I've been stuck ever since. Been stuck ever since. I got my degree in computer science and computer networking. Absolutely hate computers, so that was one of those things where, like, I went into the field because of peer pressure. But I did know that there was something else deep within me, man, and I just didn't know what it was. And I'll save some of that for some of your questions as to how I got into that space. But I'm here. I'm loving life. I'm loving being able to connect with you and your audience, man. And it's like, let's go.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing about it, so when I was listening to the book today, and it's so unique, the kind of like one of the first seeds that was planted in you to let you know that, hey, I'm supposed to coach people, I'm supposed to motivate. And that was when you and your wife, you went to dinner and the waiter cleaned the table and you kind of like thanked him and spoke into him, and you saw like, dang, I could do that. Like, did that like awaken something in you?
Yeah, because I was in a miserable state, man. I mean, like many of us out there, right? We're working, but we're not doing the thing that we feel we were called to do. We don't feel like we're aligned with our work. And I was just wide open. I told myself, like, yo, just be wide open. Pay attention to everything that's going on around you. And having that encounter with that individual and simply saying thank you, just showing gratitude to another person, the way that he lit up when I explained to him, like, yo, you prepared a place for my wife and I to have dinner. You didn't just wipe down the table. His eyes got big. He was like, I did that for you? And I'm like, yeah. The guy skipped over to another table and I just got chills through my body, man. And I told my wife, I want to do that again. And what I was thinking about was creating thank you moments. Just thank you moments everywhere I go, even in conversation with you, people at the grocery store, at the gas station, thank you moments. And I built a business just creating thank you moments, man. So all through 2008, 2009, when we had the whole crash and everything, I was just building my commercial cleaning business at the time. And I was so focused on creating thank you moments that I didn't even know that we didn't have money in the bank. My wife was like, yo, have you seen some of these statements? Negative 47 cents, $240. I mean, I didn't know because I was so focused on just creating thank you moments for people that I was able to weather that storm. Some of my clients fired their employees and kept me as the cleaner because of the energy that I brought to the space. And we were able to rebuild the company, keep it going. So for the past 19 years, we've had that company going here in Orlando, Florida, man. It's been pretty cool.
Wow. Because, like I said, when I was listening to your book and everything, and like you said, creating thank you moments, because I think that is something that we take for granted, just the small things that people do that make us feel good in the long run. But you took notice of that and it lifted that guy, but it also woke you up.
Yes.
It woke you up. Yeah. And I thought that was so cool, dude. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I know, like, one thing, and it was in one of your videos. You was coaching someone, and they were telling you kind of like what they like to do, and it was like a aha moment for you, and you was like, "That's your superpower." So, how many people do you encounter that really don't even know their superpower? Is that common?
Yeah. That it is, and I think it's because a lot of times people get jobs and they just perform. They perform the job. I remember one time, and I can't remember if it was in the book or not, but while I was working at this insurance company here in Florida, in Orlando, I remember going to my manager's office and saying, yo, Larry, who am I? Like, what do you see in me, man? Like, who do you think I can be? And he said to me, Gerren, we hired you to do a job. I want you to go back to your desk and do that job. Brother, that was the longest walk ever. Just walking and seeing a sea of cubicles, people's heads right above the cubicles, they're just churning away. And I'm like, is that what I'm supposed to do? But it opened up something in me. He wasn't supposed to have the answer, man. I had to find that answer for myself, So when I meet people and I'm talking to them and they feel downtrodden or they feel like, man, like I don't want to be doing this anymore. Once I begin talking to them and teasing up their greatness, all of a sudden you see a smile creep across their face. And they're like, that's me. And I'm like, yeah, like, let's go. Like play with it. Like, do that, man. And see how you feel about it. So that's one of the things that I love to do, which is tease up your greatness.
But, okay, so, like, how is it Because some people think that they're already fulfilling it. They're going through everyday life thinking that they're fulfilling it, and then they reach a certain point in their lives. They be like, "Well, what have I been doing the past couple of years?" So, like, how do you find that though? Like, how do you find what your true calling is on earth?
Okay, so check this out. Couple steps. I know you're laughing, right? You're laughing. I got to get into the state. So I'm going back to while I was working at this insurance place. I love people. And you saw, if you were to reflect on how we connected and just how we just engaged immediately, boom, right into the conversation. That's always been me. I worked in a space where I would have hundreds of people calling in. I'm talking to employers, employees, attorneys. I'm talking to people all day long. But I never knew, like I never saw the gift that I had of speaking to people. I was just frustrated at doing the work. So once I took a step back, paid attention to the things that I love, and started seeing the opportunities I had, all of a sudden things kind of bubbled up inside of me. So one of the things that I do, one of the steps that I do when I speak to people is I use this method called the SERVE framework. Okay, it's a 5-step. Simply, I connect with people to see what's real. SERVE, the S is for see what's real. So I engage. You remember some of the questions that I asked you yesterday, right? I engage. E stands for engage authentically. I may have shared some things with you yesterday that were like typically several steps into a friendship, but I was willing to just share it right up front because I'm not going to waste this moment, man. I'm seeing you for the first time. I'm meeting you for the first time. There's a reason why we're connecting. Don't waste the moment, Gerren. Go. R is to reflect, review. What were some of the things that I've done in the past that made me feel good? It's kind of like when I told that guy, hey, thank you. It reminded me of the many things that I did as a kid, man, where my parents would always say thank you. Always say thank you, right? So it awakens something within me. V is to validate that it's true, and E is to elevate, to like tease it up. The thrill that I felt, the chills that you'll get when you start thinking about the things that you loved to do, the things that made you feel like a kid again. All of a sudden now, if you just hold on to that, don't judge it, don't beat it down, don't say because I'm an adult, I can't play with life anymore. I want you to take that and lay it over your work. Start looking around with a new set of lenses. You start looking around with a different set of lenses, all of a sudden you're seeing opportunities. Now play. But Gerren, I can't be that way on the job. Trust me, play. Because it's what it's going to do, you're going to go and get into flow. And all of a sudden you're going to start producing at a higher level, and you're not going to be working. You're just going to be being yourself in that moment. And all of a sudden things start flowing, man. I got one friend of mine. He reached out to me and he says, Gerren, I did something on my job that my bosses were praising me for. They even gave me a raise for it. They used my example and said, like, this is the benchmark that we should all our employees should work by. He said, Gerren, it was 5% of me. It just required 5% of energy out of me. Imagine if I gave my job 10% is what he asked me. Imagine if I gave him 20%. But he's just giving 5% and he's getting raises. Imagine if we just got into flow and worked from flow. I'm talking to you from a state of flow. Like I knew you for years. And we just met yesterday. Yeah. Because I'm just giving you myself, man. No reservation, no judgment. Me to you, me to your audience. Whatever it brings, whatever it conjures up, like, let's go. So I get people into a state so that they can see themselves, and I'm just a fly on the wall, and I just watch you go. That's part of the framework.
Yeah, but you know, Gerren, that's kind of scary though. You know, that's scary though, like diving into you, because I never forget, I was maybe in my early 20s at the time, and I sucked on my job. I sucked on my job. And I never forget my boss, I'll never forget her. Her name was Lisa Davis. And she called me in the office and she was like, John, I don't think this is, thing for you or whatever. I mean, she didn't fire me or nothing like that. But she was like, I don't think this is your job or whatever. And she says, well, I was like, and I asked her, I was like, well, how do you find that? And she told me, it's the thing that you do with the spirit of excellence, effortless. when you find that thing that you do it, you want to do your very best, and it's not a requirement, it's not a chore.
Yeah.
That's when you kind of know you're doing the thing that you're supposed to do.
Okay.
That's when you know it. And I kind of like build my life on that in career wise. I kind of build my life on that, on jobs. But it was, and I had to quit a couple of jobs. And I, like in your book too, I read where you quit like a couple of jobs.
I did.
You was like, I'm out of here. This is not for me. This is not for me. So, but but everybody doesn't. It's scary. Like I said, it's scary to like walk away from a job if it's not fulfilling you. It's scary to jump in and dive into yourself. So, like if you're still trying to figure it out, and I love in your book, it asks the question, is this all there is? Is this all there is?
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm just gonna have to ask you, like, how do we get over that fear and get into who we're supposed to be?
So, all right, look, can I be honest with you? All right, let me be honest with you. So when I was a kid, I was sexually abused. Okay. And this family member I loved dearly, still do. When she stopped, I felt rejected. But it was the right thing to do, to stop. From that point on until I was probably 40, so 7 years ago, I was rejecting the world, rejecting people. If you started getting close to me, you started showing me a little too much love and affection, rejection, because you're going to leave me anyways, just like my family member did back when I was a kid, right? So it was stuck in my head. While I was growing up, while I was going through college, my early 20s, I knew that I loved people, but there was a part of me that would still reject people. So I was in this dichotomy where I'm loving on you, but then it's like, it gets to a point where I'm feeling too much feelings, rejection. So I was on the river on the bank, always just dancing there. I couldn't understand what was going on inside of me. I got to a point where I started going to therapy, and the therapist told me, Gerren, if you don't change, your wife is going to leave you. Now, I don't know if she meant emotionally leave me or physically leave me, but I took it as all of that. I got to a point where I said, I'm so sick and tired of feeling this way that I'm going to do whatever I need to do to go in this direction. I hated that so much, but I love this so much more. So I leaned into it. We got one life, man. And you hear people say, we got one life to live. Life is short. Yeah, that's real. So are you courageous enough to set aside that other thing? And I'm not telling you to leave your job, because in my book, I talk about fast track your calling, how to fuel your drive in every assignment. You can find joy right now where you are. The perspective shift needs to happen within you, not within your job. I could have found joy working at an insurance company. I could have, had I known what I know now. So when you say that it's scary, what's really scary? Is it because you think you have to quit your job to move on to something else, or is it scary to go within? What's scary to you?
Yeah, I think it's the whole going within, but I think also too, sometimes, and I'm glad that you just said, find the thing at your job that, brings you joy, because a lot of times people think, oh, I need to leave this place. I need to leave this job. But like you just said, you have to find that thing that brings you joy in that current assignment that you and do it. But I do believe that it is scary it's been scary for me in the past, and I think it's scary for some people to dive within, because there's always that element of comparison. And what I mean by that is, we'll say, okay, I'm 50 years old. I was supposed to be here, 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 here. I'm not there. So let me, it's no need in me trying something different and going with what's inside of me, because at this point it's too late.
So at the age of 50, if you were to live until you were 84, you have another 34 more years, another 34 more Christmases. That's too late. If we go down in history, John, and we checked with some of these millionaires that we know of now, they actually became millionaires in their 50s. The Sam Waltons for Walmart, Walt Disney, they became millionaires in their 50s. So they were working at a thing, failing, and then they hit it big in their 50s. Meanwhile, the rest of us, we get to our 50s and we think like, that's the end. You still got more life to live, man. So much more life to live. With the wisdom that you now carry, you will be accelerating at life much faster than you did when you were 20 through 30 or 20 through 50. It's a different ballgame, man. And that's why I try to encourage people to let them know, like, you are the greatest asset ever. There's such wisdom within you, man, that you just need to just tap into. Like, it's just sitting there untapped, waiting for you to just say, like, hey. Let me share this with you. Those years that I told you where I was rejecting people, I didn't know how to define my emotions. I would define them in a negative way often, in a way that wouldn't serve me. So I was always thinking of something negative, always creating anxiety. When I finally got to the point where I honored my emotions, like if I wanted to cry, I'm going to cry. Like right now, if I want to cry, I'll cry, and I don't care. If I feel a chill, if I feel a feeling like something's running through me, I'm going to pause and pay attention to that. Like, Gerren, what's up? Why do you feel that way, dog? And I might just sit here with it, sit in it, think about it. Okay, so that's what it is. You feel blah, blah, blah. Okay, is that true, Gerren? No. All right, so let it go. Okay, all right, I'm okay. And then I walk away. I process my emotions. A lot of people are scared to process their emotions. Some people feel as though if they're too masculine, they feel as though they shouldn't have emotions. I have people who tell me, Gerren, I'm all about discipline. I don't pay attention to emotions. It's a sign. God gave it to you. It's like, hey, pay attention. And if you just simply pay attention to it, you can accelerate your life. But too many of us are trying to suppress emotions, thinking that it makes us soft or it makes us emotional in making a decision. It's not about the decision. It's just a flag to say, like, hey, pay attention. There's something here for you, a gift for you. Have it.
But that's the world we live in, isn't it, Gerren? Like that, we are supposed to just pick up and move on. Like, you can't. I mean, that's what most people believe. They believe like, hey, I can't, because see, I feel mine. I'm like you. I process when I'm going through stuff. I sit in it for a little bit because once I come out of it, I want to move on from it. I don't want to stay there and linger in it. But most people, we get distracted. We find distractions to keep us from feeling vulnerable, feeling hurt, angry, and all of that kind of stuff. So how do we, what advice do you give to people? How can they stop being distracted and just start feeling?
Yeah. So it's a decision. We all have to come to a point where we are courageous enough to make the decision. Nobody can do it for you. Now, with some of my clients, when we're face to face, I may get real close to them, put my hand on their chest and their heart, and just like hush, like just like shh, like it's okay. Like let's talk through this. Just to calm them down, to settle them down, because their brains is going like, I gotta get away, I gotta run. No, I don't like this feeling. Oh my God, And it's just to settle them down. And sometimes this is why community is so strong, man. Sometimes just being the person in the room that creates a safe space for someone to settle their thoughts, settle their minds, for them to know that you are there with them, right? For you to share something with them that lets them know that, Gerren understands, John understands. Like, so when they calm down and they realize that they're okay still, it's like, all right, how are you feeling? Like, what are you feeling? They express it. What does that make you feel like? Like I peel back the layers, man, just to allow them to just and realize that someone is there with them. You're okay. So when they start getting tense, you're okay. Hey, your brother's right here. Your sister's right here. You're okay. Just talk to me. When they go through the experience, man, and they realize that it was just a feeling and they were not in danger. They weren't going to die. The world wasn't going to come to an end. All of a sudden, they realized, I can do this. Let me tell you something real intimate. I'm putting myself out there. Right? But I'm doing it because I believe it's important. I remember the time when I sat right here at this desk, and literally I took my hands and I just started rubbing underneath the bottom of this wooden desk. And I started feeling the sensations in my fingers. They were so strong. I started paying attention to my butt on the chair, my foot or my feet planted on the ground. I started feeling everything. If the cool breeze came, the AC blew, and my skin started to tingle, I felt that. I stayed with that. Like, I became very present with that. John, would you know, man? I'm putting myself out there, right? I got so worked up, bro. Like, I felt so loved because I became one with myself just by being still. I felt an amazing feeling. And once I had that feeling, I said to myself, I don't need to go anywhere to have this feeling. Whenever I feel unloved, whenever I feel as though I'm alone, I can bring myself to the present just by putting my hand underneath the table and feeling the texture of the wood, the texture of the carpet under my feet, the pressure of my body in the chair. Brother, everything that you desire is within you. You just have to be still. The Bible talks about it. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. Too many of us are just all over the place, man, grabbing at everything, alcohol, everything, our phones, women, men, it's like, still. That's the gift. Tell me what comes to your mind, man.
I agree with you, the being still part. I agree with you, and I do understand that the world is noisy, and it's really not even the world. We're noisy because we have so many things going through our heads all the time. We're worried about this, and we get over that, and then we move to that. We're so in our mind is constantly, there's always noise, traffic in our head, and it's hard to think, man. It's hard to be still when your world is chaotic. It's chaotic. But for me, like, honestly, like I said, I process stuff. I really do. I process things as they come. And so I sit in it, and like, my head, sometimes I can clear my thoughts. I can clear out everything and just deal with it. But that's not the case for everybody. Some people, they dealing with life. Life is lifing. And not saying I'm not dealing with life, but life is lifing for them. So it is somewhat difficult for them to silence the noise and be still and feel calm in themselves. So, like, I know you did it. Was that something that just instantly happened, or did you grow into that?
It was definitely a practice. It still is a practice. I run a business, man. I run several businesses, and there's stress all the time. For the person who has a 9 to 5 and they go to work, and work is there for them to do so that they can get paid. From an owner, from a founder standpoint, you have to create opportunities for people to now go to work, to then have work so that they can get paid. There's always stress in my world, always stress. And I have to quiet the noise because otherwise I'll go insane. It's just too much, man, for us. There are times where, and I've made a post about it, where I'll get up from my home office and literally, like, I'm so stressed out in my clothes, I'll just walk out, go in through the living room, go out, walk right into the pool, and just like Gerren, shut up. Just submerge myself under the water because my brain is all over the place. So I have to choose to get up and go. We all get to choose. It's a choice, man. But nobody can't lead you to the water, man. You have to decide. It's a decision that we all have to make. Now, once you make that decision, what are the steps, right? And those are the things that we can get into. But are you willing to make the decision to just be still? I take myself on solo trips. I find one of the things that I do is my wife, she would go out and she would find me an Airbnb, a very minimalistic. She knows the criteria for me. Very minimalistic, 1 to 2 bedrooms tops. Not much furniture. Doesn't have to have television. In the mountains somewhere or somewhere close to water. Those are the 2 things for me. I go there with a book or 2 and a notepad. I might take my mountain bike if I'm driving, or if I'm flying, I'll find a Jeep that I can go out someplace into the wilderness or into the forest somewhere. But I'm going to a place where I can be quiet. No phones, no radio. I don't touch space with my family. Like I might wake up in the morning and let them know I'm alive, but I have rid myself from all responsibility. And I go somewhere where I can just write down my thoughts or just listen, just quiet my mind. We all have a choice and we can make it.
Yeah. And the funny thing about those solo trips, they are super scary. The first one, at least for me, like when I first took my first solo trip, I never forget it. I used to think I was so independent and I thought I was a loner, and hey, you don't need people. And I went to Tampa. I think that's where it was, the first one. And I go to Tampa and I never forget it. That first night I stayed in a hotel because I was scared to go out. I was like, what is wrong with you, dude? Like, what is wrong with you? And it took me a little bit. It took me that first night because in that moment, I kind of also realized I depend on people too, like
Good.
for my happiness, to create happiness for me. So that was something that I learned from that trip and something that I grew from it as well. But when you do get by yourself and it's only you to deal with, it's not your kids, it's not your husband, your job, those moments, they reveal so much to you if you're
Yes.
willing to learn from them. Like I
Yeah.
learned a whole lot from me about me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what? And then what happened next? As a result of you going to Tampa, having that experience, what happened next?
Like I said, I started working on not being so dependent on people, for my happiness. Like for real, I was really dependent on people to plan things for me and for people to go to dinner with me and all of that kind of stuff. And just never really being by myself because like you said, sometimes when we're at home, we're always on the phone talking to somebody, or we have our phones in our hands. So we're still connected. We never really disconnect from the world. So that experience, it allowed me to, learn that maybe I just need to disconnect and be by me, be by myself and just do that. So now, I'm good with it, man. Like when COVID happened and everybody was all upset because they had to be on, I was in heaven, man.
Right?
I was in heaven.
that's one of the things that makes you dope, right? Because you're able to do this, man, and it now awakens a new part of you that you didn't know existed. So that's why these crucibles reveal another part of you, man, that now lets you lean into it, because otherwise you would just stay in the same loop, the same cycle year after year, doing the same things, connecting with the same people, versus being open to meeting a John on a Sunday afternoon just randomly. And now here we are talking again on Monday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you said after you make the choice, you said there are some steps that you have to make. What are the steps?
Yeah. Cool. All right. So you talked about you realized that when you went to Tampa, you realized that I depend a lot on people. Okay, write it down. You got to start journaling these things, because when the feeling comes up again where you feel like there's a need for dependency, you can go back and realize, that's what that is. When you start feeling a feeling like sometimes, sometimes I take a pre-workout pill, and if I don't eat, I get a hollow feeling in my stomach. That hollow feeling is the same feeling that I had years ago when I was about to make an unhealthy choice. Same feeling, but it's a different stimulus. So the fact that I now have that feeling, I can now say, okay, Gerren, you're not making an unhealthy choice. That was the pre-workout pill, bro. Grab something to eat. So now I can now make better choices. I now define feelings differently. So the first thing is writing down what it is you're noticing. And then the second thing is, when you have these feelings, hey, pay attention, you now know how to define it. because our belief systems is what drives us every single day. You talked about it. You said, man, people believe that they have to do X, Y, Z. Who told you that? There was somebody back in your past that said that to you, and now you've held on to it and made it a belief, and that has now triggered every decision that you make from here on out. What we're doing now is we're rewiring our brain, okay? Dr. Joe Dispenza says things that fire together, wire together. And if that feeling that you had, you've always associated it with an unhealthy choice. It's kind of like when people pick up a cigarette, or if they're drinking coffee, they feel they have to take a cigarette at the same time. Like, if you can rewire your brain, all of a sudden you can now make healthier choices. So now you're checking. So what I do for my clients is I have them go through just that simple process first and start checking. How do you feel? At the end of the week or at the end of the day, what did you notice? How do you feel? And they start to see the trends. They start to see what has always happened. Then they start to see how they are making different decisions. And you start seeing them smiling because they're realizing, yo, I can do this. Yes, you can. Do you want to go further? Yes, Gerren, let's go. All right. So the fact that now they're making new decisions, we now look over the different parts of your life, right? So whether it's work, home, your kids, your friendships, the relationship that you have with yourself, let's do the same thing there. Because we're stacking skill sets, okay, man? We don't want to get too crazy. When people start doing those things and they're looking at their family, the way that they interact with their kids, the way they interact with their spouses, what decisions are you making? What are you noticing? How are you feeling? Well, when she says this, it triggers me in this way. And then what do? I do this. Okay, what do you want to do now? How are you going to change that? Once they start shifting, they start realizing now they're making better decisions. And now the relationships that they're having with their kids and with their family members, it's different. It's all about stacking wins and celebrating those wins. So for the first phase, man, we just do that and we start celebrating it so that you can start celebrating it for yourself, because I'm not always going to be there, right? I'm like your advisor, but I'm not necessarily your rah-rah coach. I want you to see your greatness for yourself so that when you are in that space by yourself, you can go through that entire process and celebrate your wins. Does it make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to go deep into it but for right now, those are the first 3 steps that we do, man, to help people, because a lot of people are walking around not celebrating themselves. They don't see their wins. They don't notice it, right? They make a great accomplishment and then they move on to the next thing. Can you celebrate? Just pause and celebrate as opposed to just keep going, man. That's the life that we're living right now, and it's not cool. So I slow things down. That's what I help my clients do, slow things down.
But that's scary there too, Gerren. I ain't gonna lie. And the reason I say that, yeah, I mean, but for me, I celebrate everything. So I ain't that person. Like I said,
so you're speaking on behalf of your audience, the people that you know.
Yeah, we speaking on behalf of them. Yeah, we speaking on behalf of them. But sometimes I think people do believe that they have to go, because if you don't go, it's like you feel like you're being left. Some people feel like they're being left behind. They feel like, hey, well, I graduated with my bachelor's. Now I need to get my master's. I don't take no breaks in between that. I just start school, take one summer session off and go straight back into it. So there's really never time to celebrate, because when you really, people they really don't celebrate themselves because they're on to the next thing. They're on to the next thing. And that really is kind of sad too, that people don't stop and celebrate that.
Yeah. I mean, you hear about people dying from heart attacks, right? Burnout, strokes. They're competing at this whole accelerated rate of performance results. And the world has told us, we have to produce in order to create value. So now you have AI. You have AI now, which can do so much, so fast. And those same people who would always be working, always trying to perform, now they have to compete with AI. You can't. Not on that kind of performance, not on that metrics. The one thing that makes you different, the one thing that gives you the edge is being human. I don't know if you believe in the Bible. I don't know the background, but I heard a story in the Bible where it talked about Adam and Eve were created and placed in a garden. What do people do in a garden, man? Are they hustling in a garden, or are they tending to planting a seed and watching it grow? everything was at a slower pace. We got to a point where everything has to be at a rapid pace and people are dying. I'm trying to be around for a little bit longer, bro. I'm 47 years old. I got 2 young daughters, right? Beautiful wife. I'm trying to be around. So I'm slowing things down and still getting better results, not just from a financial standpoint, but from a well-being standpoint. What good is it, man, for you to have a whole ton of money in the bank and you're dead, or you're in the hospital? You can't even enjoy it. I like the idea of like mixing it and like having great years financially and still being able to be present for my kids. Right? I've taken my kids to school. I take them to their events. I'm there. People oftentimes say, "Man, pay attention." You know, kids grow up so fast. My kids are 11 and 12. They've been growing up slow because I've been present. I may have sacrificed a little bit of profit to be present and enjoy my kids growing up, because once they turn 18 and they head out, I don't have them anymore. So it's prioritizing the things that are important in your life, man, across the board. That's why I say after you learn how to take those first 3 steps, you start looking at every relationship you have in your life: family, friendships, yourself, your spouse, all of that. And then we set new benchmarks so that you can see wins. You can stack wins in every aspect of your life versus just financially. Like, that's fleeting, man. Money comes and it goes. It's fleeting. So that's the, I know it's a little bit challenging, man, for folks, but it starts with a decision. It starts with a decision.
Okay, so let me ask you this here, Gerren, because last week's podcast, we talked about life after divorce. Then, so we talked about life after divorce. So say, for instance, we got a divorcee. They just got out of a marriage, and here they are single. But I also want to take it a little bit different, because I have 2 nieces that just recently graduated from college with their masters. So they're at this point where, you know, they're not so much at a standstill, but they're at this point. And I'm not going to give my perspective on it right now, but for people who are at this place where they're trying to decide what path to take, like, or what is the new them supposed to look like? What advice do you have for those people?
So when you were created, when I was created, we had, like, it's kind of like with your iPhone or your phone, your mobile device. It has these factory presets, right? This is how this phone is going to operate. This is what's important. This is how you use it, the whole line. We all have that. Just like our fingerprint, we all have a unique fingerprint. Like, God gave us a unique fingerprint to show himself to the world through us. That doesn't change if you're divorced. Shouldn't have changed when you were married anyways, right? You are you. You bring you to the party. The more you do you, and when I say do you, I'm not talking about like, I'm just going to do me type of an attitude. I'm talking about being yourself, right? The more you are yourself, you start to give to the people in your life from your overflow. Like, because you're filled with love, you're filled with kindness, gratitude, and you receive my overflow. If I'm trying to feed you from an empty cup, man, like, I'm straining. I'm not filled. So it's like I'm fabricating. This is disingenuous. So once you start giving from your overflow, even if you're divorced, like my sister, man, she's divorced. And my sister's she's an educator, math coach. She helps schools here in Orange County to excel in their grades. Like, she's awesome at what she does, but she is through and through herself all the time. So whether she was married or divorced, she continued to be herself, and she has been living a very awesome life all the time. It's tough, but it's not tough because she's trying to be someone else. It's just tough because that's what growth looks like. So I'd rather you experience a harder life being yourself than a hard life being someone else. So I encourage them to just be yourself, man. Like, you are you, and everything out there is like waiting for you to show up, not for that fabricated, that LinkedIn version of you to show up.
Love it. And I love how earlier you said about shifting your perspective and the way that you look at things, because I think too, a lot of people, when they get to that place where they're coming out of a divorce or a relationship, and maybe they were in it for so long, they always look at it as, hey, like, I lost everything, and like, what do I do here? But I always tell people now, like, when you come to those places in your life, and this is even with college graduates and everything, I had that conversation with my nieces, is that right now they're at like one of the most beautiful places they could ever possibly be in their lives, because they have the opportunity to create whatever they want from here. So people who have just got a divorce, you can look at your life as being over, or you can look at your life as this is the new beginning.
Sure.
This is another beginning for me. Not just a new beginning, because again, you can create whatever you want in your life if you change your perspective, as opposed to I lost and I gave this person all of this. No, this person has equipped you for what is to come. You're a better version of yourself.
Let's go.
If you see it that way. If you see it that way, you can be the victim or the victor. Most times we play the victim, though.
Listen, man. So my brother and I, we have a fuel and distribution company in the Caribbean, and we had one client of ours who we filled up their boat with fuel, and they said that water was in the fuel. Now, we've tested our fuel. Well, we didn't test it at the point, but we fueled up for different companies and so forth, and they didn't have any issues. But this one client, they said that water was in our fuel. So we called them, we spoke to them the whole night. As a result of that, we lost them as a client. But what we decided to do next was we will test our fuel every time. Before we fuel it up, we'll test it with strips in front of our clients so that they can see and guarantee that our fuel is pure. Our clients are looking at us saying, like, that's what you guys doing? And we're like, yeah. They're like, this is awesome. This is better than any of the other companies around here. Yada, yada, yada. Now all of a sudden they're talking about us, right? Bro, as a result of that one client that we lost, who said that we had put water in their fuel, we have now created a whole new version. So guess what we do? We thank that client for what they did. You see what I'm saying? Because it triggered a new version of us. And the same thing, man, if you've had some really cool experiences with your spouse, your ex, right? You got kids or whatever it is, like, you can thank them. And all of a sudden now, like, say, because of this experience, I am now becoming this person. Thank them. Don't get miserable, because otherwise you'd be the same. So, but like you said it, man, it's all about the different perspective, the different lens. We all get to choose.
Choose. But yeah, you got to choose. That is so true. So, okay, so for college grads that just, for college grads that's just getting their lives started, what advice do you have for them?
Man, play with life. I just said this to my nephew the other day, man. Play with life, especially because, from the ages of, let's just say 21 through 25. And when I say play with life, I don't mean like experiment and do some crazy things. But just try it out, man. Try different things that may interest you, because a lot of times people feel as though they need to lock themselves into their career from right then and there, right out of college, when you haven't even experienced life a little bit. Just test something out, man. Intern here, work at this place, see how you like it. If it feels good, try something else, see what you like, see what you don't like, and then like settle in to something and just give it some time. Bring your personality to the party, though. Don't just look at it as being work. You have an assignment at that job. So when if you're working, I don't know, if you're working at, I don't know, pick a company in Darden. If you're working at Darden, like, you have an assignment. There's someone there for you to meet. There's someone there for you to transform. Someone there for you to learn from. Go into that job, that position, that career, knowing that there's an assignment. But you have to bring you to the party, because otherwise you're going to miss the assignment. You got to stay present. And I know as I'm saying these things, they may seem so easy for me now. But if I go back to when I was a younger kid, I would just simply say, man, like, just pay attention without judgment to what's happening around you, and see how it tickles you, the kid in you. Like, just pay attention. Don't judge. Just see how it tickles. Does it like make you feel good? If it makes you feel good, write it down. I want to do a little bit more of that, and find ways to do a little bit more of that. Just like me when I said I wanted to create more thank you moments. I'm intentional at that. If I have to sacrifice being vulnerable, I will do that to create the thank you moment, because that is what I am committed to doing. So any business I start, any stage that I'm speaking from, any person that I'm speaking to, I'm going to do whatever I need to do, man, to create a thank you moment so that you walk away being transformed. Take that advice, man. Be yourself in the world.
I love that assignment thing because I live my life by that. Honest to God, I live my life. I tell people all the time, I go places to either meet somebody or to learn something or for someone to bless me. And when either of those three things manifest, it's time for me to go. I never go anywhere prepared to stay forever. I always go prepared to leave. But like you said, I'm always present. I love how you said that. Be present everywhere you go because you don't know who you're there to meet. I've met people, the job that I have today, the young lady that got me this job, I met her 15 years ago at another job. And it just manifested this 3 years ago, like why we met, why we're friends, and so forth. So you go places to connect with people, to learn something, or to do something, but be present and do the job with excellence because you don't know who these people are in your future. But yeah,
100%. And if your only meeting with them was supposed to be like that one meeting, make it powerful. Like, don't waste it. Don't waste it, bro. Listen, man, I'm so glad that you reached out to me. I was telling my wife about the conversation that we had. Even as you and I were speaking, another gentleman reached out to me, a friend of me, and his words to me were this. Or was it you? It was either you or someone else who said, keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring more people than you actually know. That was the original text to me. I hadn't friended them. I didn't know who they were, but they said, keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring more people than you know. That was a word that I needed yesterday. I absolutely needed it yesterday because I was having some doubts in my mind. So you and him made a hell of a Sunday for me, bro. I appreciate it.
But, and you know, that's interesting that you said that. And that's really good. I love your vulnerability because people need to know that because you have it going on in the world don't mean that you're never going to have moments. Everything don't always go good.
Too. Yeah. Moments. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. When you have those, like, what do you do to get out of it? Or like, yeah, I mean, it was good that you connect with that guy, you connected with me, but if we wouldn't have come around, what would you have done to get out of that?
So that was the one thing that I did. So again, I love water. I grew up in the islands, so I love water, man. So I went into the pool to just like quiet my brain. I would dive underneath the water, stay underneath there as long as I could to quiet my brain. And I was praying. I was like, God, talk to me. God, talk to me. And sometimes I'm saying that from in my office, but I'm saying it too much and I'm not listening because I keep saying, like, God, talk to me, God. Like, yo, what am I supposed to do, God? Like, oh! And he was just like, shut up, go to the pool. Went into the pool, dove underneath. I came up, I checked my phone, and that was the message that I saw from the guy. And I asked him the same question I asked you. Yo, can I be honest with you? And he was just like, that's right. He was like, from motivational speaker to motivational speaker, yes, you can. And I told him, I'm like, brother, I was struggling with a thought. And I was in my pool, and I came up, and your words were the first thing that I heard. And I said, thank you for being obedient and sharing that word. To answer your question, John, what would I do? I have some friends, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to encourage people, man. Several years ago, my wife said, she challenged me. She says, Gerren, I need you to be a friend. And I'm like, I am a friend. What are you talking about? She says, Gerren, be a friend to your friends. I said, what the hell does that mean, woman? Right? I'm kind of like getting pissed off, like, but she knows me, right? So I started asking one of my buddies. I'm like, yo, who do you talk to when you're going through something? And one of my friends, he was like, I don't know. I mean, I talk to my brother, kind of, like sometimes. I don't know. I keep it to myself. I'm like, all right, no problem. Ask another brother the same thing. He's just like, I don't have any friends, Gerren. I just keep it to myself. So I started being vulnerable. Yo, guys, I'm dealing with the issue, man. Like, I need somebody to talk to. And I would share it. They wouldn't say anything. I hear you, Gerren. I hear you. Gerren, be a friend to your friends. Okay. I'm going through another thing. I would say, yo, brothers, listen, man. I'm going through this, man. Like, what would you guys suggest? I kept leaning in and kept being more and more vulnerable. And then they started sharing a little bit, then sharing a little bit. And then they realized it was a safe space. And then they started sharing more. And then they started initiating the conversation. We just grew to be a bond of like five people, right? So a couple, 2 ladies, and then 2 brothers. And we've just 3 brothers. And we have kept that going. So what would I have done? I reached out to my friends, man. I'm like, yo, brothers, like, I'm having a rough day. One guy, he's in Europe right now, so he couldn't really respond. Another one, he was here, but he was dealing with some family issues, but he responded when he could have, man. But I didn't just leave it alone to just being my friends group that would answer the call. I stayed open. You came. The other guy came. And I thank God and I thanked you both for exactly what you did. I didn't just say like, yo, thanks. No, thanks for hitting me up at this moment in time because I was going through XYZ. I want you to realize the impact behind what you did. So whatever decision you were making on your end, when you saw me and you said, man, I'm going to reach out to this guy, I don't know, you were courageous enough to do it at the time that you did. And I needed you to do it at the time that you did. You just didn't know. That's what I believe, man. We are on this planet all at the same time in all of history for a reason. And we're not supposed to waste these moments, man. So when you get a download and someone says like, yo, call that person, text that person, pick up the phone, like do it now because it could be the answer to what it is you've been praying for, asking for, calling for. But you got to be obedient and do it now. That's what I would have done. That's what I did. That's how you played a role. And again, thank you, John. Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you.
This dude here. So, Gerren, we are at the end of our hour, but tell us, like, what do you have next? What's going on with you, man?
Cool. So a couple things, man. So I have I'm starting this episode. I'm working on a project called Chasing Wisdom, where I am grabbing my phone. My phone, a mic, my tripod, and I'm going out into the world, and I'm finding people. If I hear the word, talk to that person. I'm going to talk to that person, mic them up, and just engage. And I'm going to use the same surf framework to go deep fast. My whole point behind that is just to show the world that there's wisdom in each and every one of us. Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't. But I want to tease it up and put it on display for the world to see. So that's one project that I'm doing. Another thing that I'm doing is I have this other project called Create and See. This is where I take my clients out on a 1-day excursion, and we work on their projects. Bring in some of my friends who are really good in the industry, and we work on their project and help them to get from where they are to something stable that they can work on and deliver. It's a high ticket item. It's 1 day. It's about $15,000 that we're working on for this one, and then we have another project that we're working on where we take some of our clients overseas, right? That's a $50,000 offer that we're doing. And what else I got? So Chasing Wisdom, Create and See. I'm working on another book. And then, of course, the fueling company back in the islands. I'm staying busy, man. But I'm 47. I'm at that place in my life now where like I can think faster and I have the resources, meaning the people around me. I'm leveraging the people around me to do things quickly, man. So when people are thinking that because you're 50, it's time to retire, this is actually the time where you're supposed to turn it up. Turn it up. Let's go.
Let's go. And the funny thing is, I saw the Chasing Wisdom. I saw one of your clips. It was, I think you were in New York, and it was a UPS driver and an older white lady, and they were talking their connection. And I mean, they just like loved each other. And were they strangers before?
They were strangers before, but because he is her regular UPS driver, they just loved on each other, man.
Yeah, I thought that was like amazing, dude.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, okay, so Gerren, so the past couple of weeks, this is season 10 of my podcast. We're embarking on the third year of the podcast. So I've been doing like giving $30 3 times 10 every podcast. So last week, nobody won it. The week before, nobody won it. So I just told them, hey, I'm going to add it on. So guys, those in the audience, I'm going to ask you a question. This is from last week's podcast because Gerren's, he'll be next week. So y'all might want to study this podcast. So there was one thing that Tamara said that it was a mantra of hers. What was that one thing? And I'm going to give you guys a few seconds. She said it. And I'll give you a hint. it all has the first initial is the same of each word. So what was that one thing that Tamora said that she teaches all of her clients? Let me put a time on here because you got 30 seconds to get this. I already know. Yeah, I already know. And I'm counting 30 seconds. So put it in the comment if you know what it is. And if you win it, I'm gonna cash app you $90 tonight if you put that answer in there. So y'all might want to study Gerren's thing because if y'all don't get it tonight, it'll be $120 next week. We down to 11 seconds. Nobody got it in there, Gerren. So hey, I guess they don't want that $90.
That's easy money, man.
That's easy money, man. That's easy money. And that timer is up. So what the answer was, Tamora said the mantra that she teaches everywhere she goes is, let me pull it up. It was live life loud. That was her mantra that she teaches to her clients, is to live life loud. But those of you who are in the, chat next week, it'll be $120 because it'll add to next week. So show up next week. It'll be about this podcast. So Gerren, he punched out a lot of good stuff. I'll talk about that next week. But listen up, guys. Next week, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And Gerren, what's the name of your book? Fast Track?
Fast Track Your Calling.
Fast Track Your Calling. Now, like, I am halfway through the book. I started it. I just got it last night. I started it this morning. And when I tell you, like, I started listening to it, and it is a book that you do not want to put down. And I'm not just saying this just to say it. Gerren, the book is like really, 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 really good, man. So I wish you so much success on that. And then we're going to have to get you back on here. We're going to have to get you back on here. And Pat, Pat put it in there right after I said it. So live life loud. Yeah, that was it, Pat. But you put it in after 30 seconds. Next week. But Gerren, yeah, that book is amazing, man. And I can't wait for your second book to come out. I mean, you've already started working on it?
Yeah. That's one thing my coach told me to do, man. Document your experiences. So it'll definitely be a maturation from what you're reading right now, the growth, you'll see that. But it won't be for me. It's to help others be able to do what they want to do better, faster, quicker.
Dude, that's what the first book is about too. I mean, you share a lot of you in there, but you're dropping so many nuggets on, like I said, it was so many things that were applicable to me and so many stories that you told that I've heard from other friends, especially about starting your business and all of that stuff. That was like amazing. So I'm really excited about your next book. And guys, you can get his book on Amazon. I got it on Apple Books, so it's on my phone. So I'm listen to it constantly. But you can get it there, and it's price friendly, so it's not expensive. So go out there, get his book, and we may even get a copy, give you guys a copy of that before we get out of here. But see you guys next Monday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you. Peace. Gerren, my brother, that was fun.